Welcome back to week two, everybody. This is going to be the week two lecture. My name is Dr. Albright, and you are all doing it. If you've made it this far, it means you're still at least watching the videos, if not turning things in, which is great. So I do want to make sure that everybody is at least looking at those discussions um, as soon as you can in the week. It really is helpful to those who want to work ahead if you can post at least one discussion response before you before late in the week, just so they have something to respond to. Since I am requiring that everybody respond to discussion post as well as to write a discussion post. So, um, in fact, I think I'm having you comment on two of them. So, just do be aware of that requirement. You will lose points, unfortunately, if you do not mark those discussion posts off. I want to be sure that y'all are working toward that goal. All right. So, last week we had a focus of veteran identity and reintegration. We talked about the veterans as political actors and social leaders. This week we're talking about them as political actors and social leaders. Last week we talked about intergenerational veterans, and we talked about our Warrior Writers text. If you're still having trouble getting a hold of this, I do encourage you to go directly to the Warrior Writers website and order it from there. I'm going to give a couple of readings today on the lecture so that you all have something to respond to if you still don't have your hands on the book. I'm also going to be reading a little bit out of Tribe, so we'll go from there. So this week I want you to help. I want you to understand how veterans have shaped certain political movements. I want to analyze the Bonus Army as a case study in veteran activism. And then we're going to explore the psychological and social motivations behind veteran-led leadership. So starting out with the Bonus Army March. After World War I, Congress had promised veterans a bonus to be paid in 1945. All of you history people out there know sort of what was happening in 1945, and also knew what was happening during the time before 1945. That is the Great Depression. This left a lot of veterans unemployed and homeless and desperate, and they knew this bonus was going to be paid out, but they didn't think they could wait until 1945 to receive it. So in 1932, they were led to Washington, D.C. In the Bonus Expeditionary Force by Sergeant Waters, Walter Waters, I believe. Anyway, so he was a World War I veteran, a former sergeant, and was the unofficial leader of that Bonus Expeditionary Force. And they were demanding early payment. He organized that march. He maintained discipline among veterans. He insisted on nonviolence and order, even creating a military-style command structure to enforce that, something NCOs would do, right? His leadership helped establish the BEF as a peaceful, self-sustaining encampment in the Anacostia Flats, which is near Washington, D.C. During encampment life, over 40,000 people, including 17,000 veterans, lived in makeshift shelters. The camp was racially integrated, which is a rare thing and a progressive stance for the time. And veterans held meetings, they built sanitation systems, and they maintained order this whole time. But the Senate rejected the bonus bill, and President Hoover ordered the removal of the veterans. Douglas MacArthur, with tanks and cavalry, violently dispersed that camp. He used tear gas and fire and destroyed the encampment, and 2 veterans were killed. Now, the impact of the breaking up of that camp, was public outrage over the treatment of veterans. And Waters was arrested but later released, and he continued to advocate for veterans. The Bonus Army's ultimate legacy influenced the passage of the GI Bill in 1944, and that event highlighted the power of organized veteran activism. Now, who here has heard of the GI Bill, right? Uh, if you uh, if you know anything about the GI Bill, you know the benefits that provided to veterans just in time for World War II to start up. Um, Now, around this same time, the VA was also founded. And this was part of political pressure from veterans and public sympathy that led to the creation of the VA in 1930. The VA was centralizing services for medical care, for pensions, and for what they called rehabilitation. Um, Veterans had some influence over VA policy. Advocacy groups and leaders like Waters helped shape that early VA policy, and the VA really became the cornerstone of federal support for veterans. It's a big part of our budget now, much larger than things like PBS or NPR or any of the NIH or um, the just the NEH, all of these things. It's much larger than any of those. Um, so it became sort of the cornerstone of support for veterans. It provided some monthly payments for disabled veterans, especially if their disability was service connected. I myself am a disabled veteran, and I receive benefits from the VA for that disability. Um, the next thing that we put on here was the Vietnam veterans and the Vietnam Memorial. Vietnam came directly after World War II. We already discussed some of World War II, so that's why we're kind of jumping right over it, even though it's an important conflict that a lot of people like to talk about. Um, Vietnam veterans, as I alluded to in the first week's lecture, faced a lot of backlash when they were coming home because other veterans and veteran groups actually didn't see Vietnam as a war. Rather, they saw it as a conflict in which the US sent advisors to try to aid South Vietnamese forces in resisting the rise of communism in North Vietnam, right? Um, so Vietnam veterans faced really public hostility and neglect when they returned home. Many of them organized to demand recognition and healing. Uh, they had leaders like Jan Scruggs, who um, helped to build the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in 1982. The design was created by Maya Lin, and it was controversial, but ultimately embraced. It was the Vietnam Wall that features the sort of mirrored finish. Stands in Washington, D.C., and it's just a wall of the names of those who lost their lives in Vietnam. The memorial became a symbol of reconciliation and veteran-led healing. And today, that wall pieces of a reconstructed wall do travel the country. So if you've got a museum nearby that hosts those events, I recommend going to it. Here in Minneapolis, I've got the Mall of America, which hosts the Vietnam Wall from time to time. Um, so that's part of the veteran social movement as well, social and political movement. Um, and then I want to talk a little bit about leadership traits from service. So veterans are actually ideally placed to lead political and social movements. They tend to have a more disciplined approach to their lives. They tend to be resilient. They tend to have the ability to think strategically. They tend to know how to work in teams. They often bring a mission-driven mindset to activism. So those leadership traits are really, really useful in nonprofits, especially um, if the nonprofit is in support of a cause they can get behind passionately. Some examples are Veterans for Peace, which is an anti-war veteran advocacy program. Um, there's the IAVA, which is the Iraq and Afghanistan Veterans of America. They are focused on mental health support. And then there's Black Veterans for Social Justice, who are focused on civil rights and community empowerment. Um, so I want you to take a moment and just think about what would make a veteran social and political movement effective. We have veteran leaders. We have what I would call worthy causes. These are people who have sacrificed for their country, regardless of what's going on in the country at the time. They have signed over some of their agency in order to accomplish some mission for the country. Sometimes that mission is they want to get out of poverty, right? Uh, and the Army is one way to do that if you're in abject poverty. As you can see from the bonus Army, it's not that far out of poverty, but it is one step up, especially now. Um, and then other times it's to escape a hometown that's inadequate of serving your needs. Um, Sometimes it's for the educational benefits. Sometimes it's for the medical benefits. We'll talk a little bit more about those as we go along. Some of them aren't what they cracked up to be. Others are really good support for veterans. Um, so just I'll give you a moment just to think what makes veterans effective leaders in social movements. And I'll take a breath. All right. So the viewing for this week, the March of the Bonus Army, that PBS documentary. Very good documentary. I hope you watched it the whole way through. It's very short in terms of the things that I'll have you watch this um, semester, this quarter, this period of time this class is taking place. um, so do watch the whole thing. I specifically want you to learn about Walter Waters this week. Um, Listen to his leadership, listen to his speeches. There are several excerpts in his own voice. Um, think about the peaceful camp and the racial integration of the camp, and then think about the violent eviction that took place on the part of MacArthur's troops, and see if that changes your view of General MacArthur. I know it sort of did for me. Um, a couple of things I want you to ask yourself as you're watching. How did Waters' leadership shape this movement? Um, Waters was a sergeant. He was leading veterans of all different ranks and structures, all different branches of service. Um, he was obviously a pretty good soldier, as the documentary talks about, but um, a sergeant is not a high rank in the Army. So I want you to talk about or think about how Waters' leadership shaped this movement. And then how does the Bonus Army reveal, or what does the Bonus Army reveal about the relationship between veterans and the government? Um, Hopefully, you will take away that there's a bit of a distrust between veterans and the government. Um, and that even though the government provides a lot of support for veterans, um, a lot of them only do it uh, because their constituents force them to. And so we as constituents have the power to affect where our nation goes, right? And the more we understand that, the better off we are in democracy, in my opinion. All right. For our readings, again, I'm having you read pages 296 to 319. It's the personal narratives of veterans, the biographies. I'm going to read you one of these just just because Lavella we heard from a little bit, and Lavella is a friend of mine. She and I started the Warrior Writers Project in Minneapolis, and so Lavella wrote in her biography. Lavella Kalika founded a Warrior Writers, founder of Warrior Writers, is a writer, photographer, and multimedia artist with backgrounds in human development, English, and social justice organizing. She offers a unique perspective and develops creative, collaborative ways of organizing and communicating. Lavella is co-founder of the Filipino American Artist Collective, Tatlo Mestizas. Lavella has received 3 Art and Change grants from the Leeway Foundation and was honored with the Transformation Award in 2009. She self-published her first chapbook of poetry, Makibaka, Beautifully Brave, in 2006, and Huang Matakak, Do Not Be Afraid, in 2011. She is currently at work on a poetic memoir. And I believe she's actually nearing the end of that, or she has finished it. I want to read another one. Michael Day is a Marine combat veteran. He lives in Manhattan and is a cinematographer, producer, and writer for Cyprian Films New York. He released his first book, I Am the Title, in 2013. So these are the kinds of people that worked on this text. And I want you to read all of these just because I want you to have an appreciation of the people whose poetry and whose work you're reading. I think there's something powerful in knowing these people on a little bit deeper basis. And they're all really a little bit more relatable. It's far from these writers like J.K. Rowling and J.R.R. Tolkien that we look at and we're like, oh, well, I could never like talk with that person. No, these are people that you can talk with. Just go to Warrior Writers, right? They're people who live in your neighborhood. They're people down your streets. These people are the veterans that you know in your life. Just after a workshop with Lavella. So I want you to understand that that's who you're working with, and take that in a little bit. I'm also going to read a couple of poems for you. Again, just in case you don't have the book yet, I want everybody to be able to participate. So here we go. Faraway Boy by Stephen Funk. Far away, boy, I can still see you. Uncontrollable crying, inappropriate laughter. I can still hear your muted voice. Take your time. You're resilient. Learn to protect yourself. Fall down and get up. Incredible sweetness. This world is not your fault. Far away, boy, you are here. So that was Far Away Boy by Stephen Funk on page 172. I'm going to read the mirror poem here on 173. It's called A Day. It's by Robin Murray. Wake up. Swallow pied. Swallow pills. Drink coffee. Pull head out of ass. Lather, rinse, repeat. Blow dry. Dress myself poorly. Eat poorly. Waste brain matter on TV. Regain motor skills. Think useless thoughts. Do useless things. Drag feet on ground. Groan. Sigh. Pick brain up off floor. Pick self up off floor. Say self fucking do something. Sleep. Repeat. 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 I'm going to read one more. This is called Memorial Day by Hugh Martin. It's on page 182. Thank you for the yellow magnet on your vehicle. My lifetime membership to the Veterans of Foreign Wars put me back $300. Gentlemen's clubs wave my cover, shake my hand. I'm a veteran. Support me. Thank me. Please applaud when I enter the airport. When I told my mother I had to go, I cried hard. In my heyday, I could bench 250. Yes, to bacon on everything. I can be buried in Arlington whenever. Applebee's served me for free with tip tax. God, that girl can sing. Chew that hot dog. Hold in that fart. Smile. Pat your hand on your heart. We'll do one more. Wake Up Call by Kevin Basil, page 183. 6 days before Sergeant Justin Crossnew's fifth deployment, our chaplain came to say, no morning accountability formation and remain in the barracks until our silver-starred squad leader had been cut down from the third-story fire escape where he had double-wrapped paracord around his neck and let himself hang for the whole world to see. I think that's enough poetry. So I want you to read the biographies of those people, pages 296 to 319. Those are the personal narratives of veteran activists because they're all active in change agents just by virtue of publishing in the Warrior Writers anthology. Chapter 2 of Tribe, Sebastian Junger. War makes you an animal. All right. If I go to the end here, I'm going to read from page 69 to 70. At the bottom of the page, 6 months into the siege, some A word, Amit Savik's parents managed to get her evacuated to Italy because they weren't sure she was going to survive. She had lost a lot of weight after her surgery and never managed to put it back on. Although she was safe in Italy and finally healing from her wounds, the loneliness she felt was unbearable. She was worried that if the war never stopped, everyone would be killed and she would be left alone in the world. She finally started trying to figure out how to get back into Sarajevo, something that almost no one did. From a bureaucratic standpoint, it was even harder than getting out of a besieged city. But with her mother's help, she finally did it. She flew into the blown-up, sandbagged airport and hitched a ride into town and back to her family. I missed being that close to people. I missed being loved in that way, she told me. In Bosnia, as it is now, we don't trust each other anymore. We became really bad people. We didn't learn the lesson of the war, which is how important it is to share everything you have with human beings close to you. The best way to explain it is that the war makes you an animal. We were animals. It's insane, but that's the basic human instinct to help another human being who is sitting or standing or lying close to you. I asked Amastavik if people had ultimately been happier during the war. We were the happiest, Amit Savik says. Then she added, and we laughed more. So I want you to dig a little deeper and see what Younger is trying to communicate. Why does this chapter here? You know, it explores how war changes behavior and fosters tribal bonds, but it also discusses how trauma can lead to activism and to leadership. Once again, your writing assignments. I want you to analyze the effectiveness of the Bonus Army protest. Um, you know what? Just follow the schedule. Let's see. It is. Let's see. Writing. Analyze the effectiveness of the Bonus Army protest in 2 to 3 pages, and for your discussion. Board, the prompt is to describe a political movement led or founded by veterans. And this can be broadly any organization that is led or founded by veterans. I want you to respond to 2 peers with thoughtful commentary. Again, do the discussion part early so that people can respond to your post. That's really appreciated. So in summary, veterans have historically played vital roles in shaping policy and public opinion. Walter Waters exemplifies veteran leadership and peaceful protest. In yeah, so we'll end it there for now. Do let me know if you have questions. A couple of you have been emailing me. That's fine. We'll get back to you when I can. But yeah, thanks so much for coming to class. I'm really appreciating the writing that I'm seeing from people so far. I really want to just help you understand the people that most of you say you're going to be working with. So this is my way of doing that, and I hope that you all come away from this class with an understanding of veterans and how to work with them to achieve the aims of reintegration, of recovery, and of sharing veteran voices. Thank you.